What is up, everybody? This is Edward, back with another infomercial stream. We'll just keep it just like this. I got something on my mind that I really want to put out here, and it can't. I don't really want it to wait. You see the title, so we're gonna get in it. I always say the streams are short. When I say that, I always aim for them to be short. It's late, and so I really don't want to regret doing this in the morning. But I just want to put this out here. So, all right. So, any of y'all, shout out to I'm telling you right now, and some of you, I'll say this multiple times because I get a lot of people are not in here. It's not going to be a lot of people listening. But for the playback, I'm going to be talking about I may be talking about some Loki spoilers. It's really not a big deal. If you haven't seen it, then you don't want to see it. um I'm not gonna, you may not know what I'm talking about unless you have seen it. Well, at least from the TV show standpoint. So keep that in mind. And I'll try to say spoilers before that, but I might forget. So if you don't hear it, whatever, I really don't care. This is not a Geekdom channel. Y'all can get over it. But you all know, I want to state my initial position. Um, for the sake of people will try to accuse me of double talking. I don't have an issue with purple. I don't really have an issue with purple pill. I think most black people, that's where they're going to be. Like, as far as if you're aiming for people to be more aware, that's essentially where they're going to be. They're not going to really go in the red pill because black people are too emotional. There's a certain level, and this is not just like, well, white people can understand. This is not because white people, they have their things they can't accept either. Um, every group has kind of their things they can't accept. Unfortunately, with our stuff, we're talking about relationships. We're talking about like where the community is, where it's going, where it's been. We can't even really be honest about where it is. And so I don't have personally an issue with purple pill, but I do have an issue with bullshit. And that's true if it's red pill, SYSBM, Igmore, um, like, black concern, like, any Christian church, black church, anything that operates where black people bring their bullshit into whatever debate or talking point it is. And that's kind of like the through line under a lot of these topics is black people have a cap problem. We love the cap. And so when the black manosphere is called toxic, the black manosphere for the most part is a cap free environment. You're not going to really be able to come in here and really cap in the same way that you may be used to capping in other places. I'll give you a perfect example. Shout out to Black Men Travels. Very good Facebook group, YouTube channel. He's doing a lot of good stuff there. Great. I was on his channel. I've been on his channel before, and I was talking about how black men are afraid of economics. And when I said that, I meant like working together. Black men tend to find ways to basically use their talk game to en route. We don't like creating hierarchies around money because money is the best way to power in this country. And so that's a problem. That's a fucking problem. It's kind of like in the NBA, if you deal with like a whole team of people where they're all talented, kind of like the Fab Five, but they don't really want to play as a team. They all want to do one-on-one. Well, eventually that shit's not going to work, no matter how talented somebody is. That's not going to beat a team that plays defense. I'm talking about like when people actually come down to it and you're in the playoffs, that's not going to work against people that are actually playing as a solid team. It's not, especially if they really playing basketball. This is why that doesn't work in college like that with a bunch of people. You still have to operate as a team at some level. You may be able to have a little bit more latitude, but you still have to operate as a team. It's the same thing here. You have folks that they want, like going back to the black travel situation or commentary. It's the same thing with economics. Economics is a team sport. Group economics is a team sport. Yes, you can do things on your own, but when you're going up against people that don't have an issue network with other people, Think and Grow Rich said that, How to Win Friends and Influence People, two classic books that talks about that. Your likelihood of success exponentially goes up if you have an ability to actually work with other people. Um, that just is what it is. Individualism can work, but that's exceptions. None of these people became billionaires, just doing shit on their own. They didn't. Even Facebook, was still developed by a group of people, even though it was Mark Zuckerberg's thing. It's just what it is, right? And the pushback was, and I say this because these are people, I identify with. The pushback was, well, number one, you making black men look bad. Number two, some but not all. The same shit everybody says. And I'm like, dude, you all are exceptional. We know most dudes in the tribal community do not have passports. That may not be true for your group, which I doubt, because that's true for every group. We get it. The top 20% does 80% of the work in any activity. But what I'm saying is where the development needs to happen. That's all. But people can't say, I hear you, and there's a lot of strides being done to work on that. This, and this. And some of that was said, but for the most part, it was just that pushback. And I do it sometimes, that pushback of, well, we need to protect black men's reputation. At the end of the day, their reputation is irrelevant if people are finding this out, because this is going to be your reputation. Like, for example, when you look at black men in Sasua, black men went down there simping, like ultra tricking, and a lot of those were New York motherfuckers. I showed you, I pointed where the cause was. I didn't just say, well, niggas just up there simping. No, I said this is generally what's happening, why it happens, because it's been happening for a long time. That didn't just happen in a day, and we need to take steps to make sure that doesn't happen in other places where black men want to go, because we need to be able to go to places where there's a lot of African Americans already there, but there's going to have to be certain codes of conduct, like loose rules that people are just going to have to follow, because you're threatening other black men, because now other black men become a target because y'all are coming down there with all that money, just throwing it around because of what? This is where, like, certain things Ramil said back in the past, that can become true. And see, but these guys don't think about that shit because they're coming in there, and because they're in a higher cost of living area like New York, and they don't want to leave in order to develop wealth. They just want to go and splurge out, which, you can do, but there's a way to do that that's not just on some complete, simp ass shit. And you got dudes in Houston too, like a lot of these simp cities where they do that stripper simping bullshit. And that's essentially what a lot of these dudes are doing. And so my point is not to say, well, all this stuff is bad. My point is, these are the holes that need to be plugged up. Now, people may not like me speaking candidly over the air versus I could say this in Telegram or in Facebook, but at the end of the day, I really don't give a shit. I'm a transparent person. These are conversations. But my point is, even in something that I identify with, they kind of still did the same thing. Yeah, I don't like that you said dudes don't have economics. Look at what we're doing. You're exceptional. You're exceptional, but you're not the rule. This is why we have what we have in the United States. This is one of the reasons why when black men have what they have in the United States. This is why black men can't work together. Basically, I will talk about the Highlander syndrome, the Luciferian complex. You see that manifested in every area of activity. Now, do you have exceptions to the rule? Sure. But they are not the rule. And it ain't no 50-50. It's not. And for people to sit there and deny it, that denial shit is real. And when you look at it logically, everybody was pushing back on me, and I got emails from dudes saying, I'm so glad you said that. I got like 3 or 4 emails and a couple of comments in my thing saying, I'm glad you said that. Like, thank you for saying that. Because see, they're all in their bubble. I'm not in that bubble. I try to, like the Loki thing, I try to operate outside of the timeline loops, because I'm always going to be candid to where we are. And I'm not saying that, okay, well, Passport Bros is bad and they're exactly what people said. No. What I'm saying is I believe the passport community can, quite frankly, become bigger than the black manosphere. Personally, I do believe that. If you take Kevin out of it and don't count Kevin, I do believe that it could be that big. And so these are some of the things that we got to shore up in order to armor up. And to be fair, he's doing a lot of great things. He's doing a lot of really awesome things. But this was me talking more about the greater community, not just his channel, because I don't really know his channel enough to make those kind of assessments. But I do know how the greater passport community is, and what happened was people basically clicked up. And I'm like, people can click up all you want to, but at the end of the day, what it is what it is. I'm not speaking to stuff to where if you just talk your way around and ignore it, it's just all of a sudden not going to be true. These are things that are going to come up. Hence, going into this purple pill situation, what you have is you have people that I've talked about this before in my last couple of streams, but this is the addition I want to add to it. You know, I did the breakdown with Ron G and Courtney, right? And Ron G, I appreciate his transparency. I appreciate, what he was saying. I appreciate how he communicated it as well. Because that's something as a black person, that's a very brave thing to do as a black man to kind of put it out there like that. I appreciate that. That video definitely deserves a lot of broadcast because it does, because the way he communicated really highlights the damage a lot of these women do. It's easy to point out the psycho females, the females that are card carrying feminists. They hate black men. The females that Statue West is talking about. Those women are easy because their energy is beaming. Their discontent, their anger, they're projecting on black men. That shit beams off of them. And even the ones, they're not like Darth Sidious where they can kind of hide it until they ready to show you. They're more like Darth Vader. Like the shit, you feel it. Even if they are not, even if they're not necessarily completely psycho, they may have the slick of the tongue. You feel it. And so it's easy to identify that unless you're just somebody where you're just so used to abuse that you start to like it. Which is something Mediocre Tutorial said on that A to Z video, which a lot of y'all dudes are, and y'all dudes need therapy. But I was listening to a lead attorney, and you should have heard some of them old chicks talking. I mean, they don't get me started on that. But anyway, but the ones that I try to highlight with certain YouTubers that I've presented before, and I've highlighted this, your Danica Marie's, your Six Goddess, is the emotional manipulators. And I haven't used this terminology, but this is a terminology I'm going to start using going forward because it really is something that women can definitely gravitate to because they understand this, and it's something men can understand as well. And they need to understand it. You have a lot of women, and this is something that Black Guru has never used this terminology, but I'm going to give credit to Black Guru because keep in mind, again, Black Guru is a good example of what a lot of this space has. You've got, because my channel actually skews really my age and older. And then you got a sizable 25 to 34. And then you got my age is really like 25 to 44. And then you got like more folks that are 44 and up than you have folks that are under 25 as far as the demographics in my group. So the thing about it is you have, and there's quite a few dudes I know that they're in my thing that they either are married or were married. So keep in mind, I'm the reasonable guy. I'm like the, Jonathan Majors variant in Loki. And then you have Black Guru is kind of like old man Loki, but Black Guru is married with daughters. And so when you look at somebody like Courtney, Black Guru is raised, and to be fair, Black Guru has said similar things about Jessica X, although Jessica X hasn't really put her, well, according to Guru, yes, but I haven't heard it yet. But again, this is going to, if I hear it, I will speak on it. I don't pretend that something's not there. This is where a Black Guru, so Black Guru, this is not like the first person that like he's come at, but even with Courtney, he's made it very clear. He puts Courtney in the same category as Jessica X, maybe even worse in his eyes, because the difference between Jessica X is a lot of dudes are really on her versus Courtney. It's a lot of things she's doing, but the point is, he has all daughters, and that's important because the typical basic arguments people like to make is, number one, who are you as a man? Okay, well, what? So if now I'm not married, I don't have kids, now that wants to be used as a weapon in order to qualify me. Okay, well, let's talk about a black man that has a traditional black family and he actually has all daughters, so he has no real reason to cape for dudes. So if he tells the truth, he's telling it as it is. What would you say to that? Shout out to BGS. 2 daughters, and 1 son. What would you say to that? And his grandson, obviously help his grandson as far as education. What would you say to that? But see, but folks like to, and so it's very telling when you have people like Yanni Red on there. I don't care. I don't care what you think you don't know about these people. That's no excuse. All it takes is to listen to like 5 of Yanni Red's videos and you know what you're dealing with. In fact, everybody in the comment section was really, they didn't even know who she was, and they knew who she was as soon as they heard her talk, because Yanni Red is she's one of those chicks where the shit's beaming. Then you got Six. With Six, you gotta listen to maybe a little bit, but she says the crazy shit too. And so anyway, my point is to this is when I was listening to the Ron G's video, what really he was talking about was emotional manipulation. And there's passive, there's passive emotional manipulation, and then there is overt covert emotional manipulation, and then there's overt emotional manipulation. What's the difference? The difference is passive and active. Like one person is actively doing it, and the other person that's just kind of who they are. So you just got to know to qualify them out. And this is why, and Ty City completely agrees with this. He says everything, and I've said this, I'm the main one that said it. Everything that happens to you, that a woman does to you, and after you decide to trust her, because trusting her is a decision. And it is my opinion, you cannot love, puppy love doesn't count. It is my opinion, you cannot love a woman you do not decide to trust. Remember what they said in the Matrix. The problem is choice. They accept the shit at a conscious or subconscious level. Most of the time it's unconscious. And so when you have been pre-imprinted to believe women are a certain type of way, that means you have this propensity to trust women for really no reason. And this is important because I want you all to really think about this. Black women are literally groomed from birth. And BGS has shown this when he talks about the little black girl and the little black boy, and how black women are taught to react to white boys, white boys versus little black boys. They are groomed from birth to not trust black men. This is why I'm going to tell you something. I remember when I got hit with it's only been a couple of times I've got, like maybe 3 or 4 times I got hit within stitching cord for something that when I say I did not do, I mean I 100% had nothing to do with it. And my cousin, I have an older cousin. She's actually the daughter of the aunt that I say has dementia. And she smashed my brother's finger. She slammed the door. And it smashed his finger. Now, it created a gap in his finger. He grew out of it. He's fine now. But this is my middle brother. And he was screaming, blah, blah, blah. And I was around, but I ain't had nothing to do with it. And my older cousin got my brother to say it was me. Now, my brother was young enough that he didn't really know what was going on. And it happened so fast that he couldn't react. So he just pointed at me. And I got hit, whatever. Lord knows I was mad, but whatever, it happened. But one thing that my brother used to do is he used to have this like mental thing in his head that whenever my cousin's name was mentioned, he would say, we're gonna call her Keisha. That's not the name at all, but just, yeah. He would say, Keisha smashed my finger. He would just say it. And it took literally like 3 or 4, because even me, I didn't even pick up on it. And it took like 3 or 4 fucking years. It literally took that long before my mother finally got a fucking clue and realized that's what happened. And she took the fucking extension cord to my ass for no reason. By the way, she never apologized for it. By the way. And my cousin never really got consequences. My cousin would grow up to do identity fraud with some of my family members. And I'm talking about Social Security type fraud shit with people that were her flesh and blood. I'm talking about like direct cousins, like direct and second cousins. And she became one of those bitches, those scam bitches. And I always knew she wasn't shit. But because you're a black man, black boy, whatever, the and matriarchy it's not extremely strong in my family because we got a lot of dudes that just don't give a fuck, and it's on that front, but it's still there, and she even scammed her own mother, and so when you don't really check that shit, women become animals. Because human nature, if you don't check shit, human nature, and this is why I want to liken a lot of this to the Loki TV show, because when you look at like what Jonathan Majors' character was saying in that exposition in the end, he was saying, if you don't check this shit, motherfuckers are going to tear everything apart. And the stuff that he did was extreme, but even when you look at how he was talking, he was like, this was necessary. And you can say what you want to say about me, but people will turn into animals if you don't really chin check them. I mean, you see this even today with motherfuckers killing each other. A lot of these rappers, they're killing each other over clout. That's part of that is human nature. But when you remove boundaries from people, the animalistic nature of men and women are going to take out, especially in certain traumatic situations. But anyway, long story short, let me bring it back. My point to that is that if you trust a women that are emotionally manipulative like that, this is the gambit with them. This is the fucking Chinese finger trap. Those women are not capable of appreciating a man that they can emotionally manipulate. And the men that they can't, generally the best way, the shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight line. And the straight line is to just not fucking deal with your ass. I'm not really looking at the comment section. So if y'all super chat, make sure y'all hit that Cash App. But I'll get to that in a minute. But the men, if a man can recognize emotional manipulation in a woman, so usually these are guys that are also emotionally manipulators, or these are guys that they at least know enough about it to know I don't want no parts of that. And keep in mind, the most devastating emotional manipulators are generally more attractive women, because these are women that are going to get a pass because dudes are going to produce sexual access. But you also have a lot of cute emotional manipulators. And Pink Book actually talked about this in a couple of videos that she's done. And women are really sociopathic, and they don't, because lies and manipulation is kind of something that kind of helps tip the scales a little bit and equalize things. They don't really believe emotional manipulation is bad. They believe it's a necessary thing. They don't see it as an inherently bad thing. They don't, because they emotionally manipulate children. This is why when you hear women like Stefco talk about like emotional intelligence, what they're really talking about is men that are very sensitive to a woman's emotions. Because if you're sensitive to a woman's emotions, then you're most likely to react and respond to them, which means you're basically vulnerable to basically being controlled. She may not see it that way, but that's how men see it. And at the end of the day, when you look at the kinetic impact of what that does to a man, because women do not give no fucks about a man's emotions, but they are there. That's why men tend to have this thing where they like, I don't even deal with women like that, because you create nothing but problems. And when I was listening to Ron G doing the breakdown, it kind of hit me after the fact. I was like, what Ron G was talking about was an emotionally manipulative woman. And then I look and I'm thinking, because Courtney's the one doing the interview, and I can't help but think, because I recently saw the video she did, the part 2 like a month ago, where her husband or the father, her child, her baby daddy, whatever you want to call it, not her husband or her baby daddy, called in, and you can hear the days in them. And I saw a lot of Ron G in that. A dude that's like, everything should be working on paper. I'm doing what I need to be doing. And think about what Courtney said. Courtney said that he did everything he was supposed to do. But the dude still had to be like, oh yeah, well, some things I didn't do. Because it may not have been. Dudes just apologize just to be apologizing, because that's the programming of what they know. And so my point is, I said she might have very much been. Remember, I've said even in the beginning, I said I would like to know Courtney's origin story. I would like to know some of the details of actually what happened. Because when women don't like to really talk about what happened and go into detail, it's generally because it's bad. And the truth is, she was probably that same emotionally manipulative woman that Ron G was talking about. It's not like overt, it's covert. And so then when I look at things like people like, because it's, I got these high value male suitors. Okay, if you have these suitors and you also are thinking about getting with your baby daddy, because I'm gonna tell you something she said, and I'm gonna link it in the community tab because it's not a long video, but I want you all to hear this. And this is really what triggered me doing the video. Because she recently put up a video talking about, Red Pill, and her conflict with Red Pill. And it's no conflict. That's the feminist in you. It's no conflict. I have people and we have women in this space. That's the feminist in you. Like, and one thing I'll say too, all you got to do is talk to Crimson Cure. She's certified in this space. You want to talk to a woman? Go talk to her. She's been married. She shows her face. She's in the Nation of Islam. You can't say none of this shit. You can't. So any woman that wants to act like they need a woman to talk to that. And if you need somebody less, then talk to Jessica X. Because Jessica X would do it too, but Crimson Cure is obviously the first choice. Because that's another thing. Jessica X is younger. So that's another thing. But anyway, the point is, it really dawned on me. Oh, this is what she said. And I want y'all to really hear me. She said that I feel like even though we're not together, I'm still attached to you because you do all of the things that a man would do as if we were together. I want to say that again. She said, I feel like even though we are not together, that I am attached to you because you do all the things that a man would do as if we are together. Love Dorsey's another one. But the problem with Love Dorsey is she would write Love Dorsey off as just being ratchet. I want you to understand that. I want you all to really let that simmer what I just said. And I would ask, and what I would ask, what man would want that situation? What does it take for a man to be in that situation? That shit sounds like some Boyce Watkins shit, number one. But what man would be cool with being in that situation? A man that is very much still in love with a female, of still. So what that showed me was, number one, he's not an impediment to them getting back together. It's not him that's making that not happen. Number two, that he must not have been doing a whole bunch of shit to justify leaving him in the first place. Because if he's doing all of this when you're not together, what is he doing when you were? This is not about putting her on trial. This is not about attacking Courtney. What this is about, because I've talked about stuff like this before, but this is about letting Black women understand one thing you all are going to have to let go of. Most of the Black men that you all talk to, the reason y'all think y'all smarter than, the reason why y'all think y'all smarter than is because they're trying to fuck and they let you get away with shit. It is not sexually attractive to call a woman on every little dumbass thing that she says. That's not a pathway to the vag. So dudes are going to be very agreeable, go along, get along. They're just going to charge off. That's some shit females say. They don't even take what you say seriously. So they're really not even dialed in to engaging with you like that unless they are. Shout out to Charles or unless they're Charles. Well, that don't matter. He's still fucking and still calling you a stupid bitch. But the one thing we don't talk about that a lot. A lot of and that's one of the bigger things that I think a lot of these guys, Black Hoover, and a lot of these guys are really railing against. It's a lot of y'all females are emotionally manipulative as hell, and in many ways that shit is actually more kinetically damaging than actually the one women. Men are used to be told they ain't shit. Bitch says she ain't shit. Dude can write that off because we've got blindness to it. But when a dude opens the trust gates up for a female, and then a female basically it puts a dude in a situation where nothing he does is ever good enough, that shit creates hypertension. I have seen that shit. There's a story that I've told before when at my old job where it was a guy that I know that he had and he kind of set himself up from this, but this may have been some of why he did what he did. He kept on buying more and more shit. He upgraded from a 300C to like one of the new Jaguars at the time. This dude is like literally my same age. And I mean, as he's getting more money, he's not building wealth. This is a smart dude. He's basically keeping up with the Joneses. I'm like, for who? For his wife. Now, part of that was him kind of setting the tone in a way I think he didn't need to. But also that you're not good enough, that you're not supported, that is not some small shit. That is some evil shit. It's really, and I'm not being hyperbolic. And so when a lot of these guys go through quote unquote red pill rage, and red pill rage is, see, a lot of these women don't believe it's justified. A lot of women do not believe that men, like this is the same chicks that will say that men need to express emotions will be the same chicks that'll say a black man is complaining and they just don't want to keep black people together, because that's the new bullshit now. The new bullshit is that, and I've heard men say this too, is that somehow some random niggas on YouTube is like this impediment. They're literally trying to make the manosphere the problem. And I find this ironic because Kevin Samuels comes from this space. So this idea of, and a lot of his talking points come from us. I'm not saying he steals them. But the Octane situation, BGS. The sign language situation, with the exception of the insult part, he added the insult part, is BGS. The find your own store is mine. He's giving O'Shea and Obsidian their credit and BGS, and he's shouting me out. Let's cut a lot of the stuff he says that you all think are popular, the ones that y'all didn't know him before he was at like 120, or y'all found him through the viral. It comes from our space. And this idea that people like to have, this is where the problem comes in. Black, like, and TBO, and that's another thing too. When you ask somebody, oh, well, what do you think about the red pill? And the first thing they say is MGTOW, automatically I know you're not talking about the black manosphere. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because there's very few black manosphere channels that are MGTOW based. Jada Black is technically not in the black manosphere, and Jada Black doesn't really do this content like this. He does more trending news content at this point. Darius MGTOW is not really associated with the manosphere. Coach Greg Adams is not associated with manosphere. Darius MGTOW and Coach Greg Adams both show their face. So who the fuck are you? And Coach Greg Adams and Kevin don't even interact like that, even though they're in similar circles when it comes to Donovan Sharp. And then if you're talking about Myron Gaines, well, they show their face and they're all out there. These are technically not black manosphere channels. These are what I call manosphere adjacent channels, or black manosphere adjacent channels. So I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about? And then okay, well, let's look at the points. If we look at the points, there's no points. The only points is, well, men don't want to get married. That's actually not true. The issue, black men have been very clear in the manosphere and in general what the issues of marriages are. You got dudes like Angry Man that also talk about cohabitating relationships, long-term relationships. That's not necessarily marriage. So black men are not really out here. Black men are saying, I'm not, the get married part is pretty much an insert for, well, black men don't want to be in long-term relationships with black women. That's actually not true. The piece of paper doesn't make the marriage. The piece of paper gives you legal rights, which is what dudes want to stay away from. But there's plenty of dudes in long-term. And like, hell, Sub-Zero is not married, but he's in a cohabitating relationship with the mother of his child. I'm not put his business out there, but yeah. And he's another one that'll say that a lot of black men need to stop complaining. So, dude, the marriage shit gives women rights that women have demonstrated they'll take advantage of. If you adjust that and reform the laws, which can be done, but women don't want to do it because women always want to reserve the right for their bullshit, then more dudes will probably be open to marriage. Point blank, period. You're not going to talk your way around that shit. It doesn't matter how many dudes, like the mainstream is already saying a lot of the same shit y'all say. So it doesn't matter. And when I say y'all, I mean like people that want to play the purple pill game in general. So my point is, you have a lot of people where what they're doing is they're emotionally manipulated. Y'all are emotionally manipulative. And yes, there are going to be certain black men that are going to fall for that. And that's on them. That, again, you trust a woman, that everything that she does is your fault, because at that point you kind of low-key committed. And a woman's goal is to make it as easy for a man to emotionally commit to them as possible. This is why you hear women say things like, get a man that loves you more than you love him, all this other shit. It's about manipulation. The truth is, black women have not come off of that, which is why I did this statuesque video. She was saying the same shit 10 years ago. And 10 years past, you all have gotten worse, not better. And so putting a kind word to shit, that's not enough. Like I said, that's not enough. That's not enough. It's not. It's not. And especially, and here's another thing, the dudes that y'all want, because, and let me come off of that, but I just want to be clear about this. This is something I'm going to talk a lot more about, the emotional manipulation. This is something I'm going to talk a lot more about, because this is something I think needs to be highlighted. This is something that needs to be really called out. This is something that needs to be brought to this is by the way, shout out to Smurgo for the $5. This is shout out to Charles. This is also another reason why I do like Love Dorsey. And people will talk about her ratchet shit, but the thing is, Love Dorsey is direct. Okay, and I like that. I like direct people. I like direct women. Like, is it a trait that I can do without? Yeah, I don't need it, but I can respect that. Love Dorsey is direct. Cut the bullshit. She's direct as a motherfucker. And this is kind of why a lot of women like dealing, because people will say that like that's masculine, but you know what? It's interesting because that's probably why a lot of women gravitate towards her. Because yes, that is masculine energy, but it's kind of like when you use masculine energy for like a good way from a woman's standpoint, to where she can kind of operate kind of like a coach. Because if you're gonna really coach women, you need to be able to show I'm where the fuck you want to be, which is why her market is a unique market. And then she has to really be able to actually coach. You don't go to Love Dorsey, like she can understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, you still, it's still, you still got to get to where you need to get to. The best coaches are able to do that. Coach K, we know the greats, right? And your feelings don't matter. You can acknowledge feelings, because we do that here. We acknowledge the feelings that black men have, but at the end of the day, it's still where you need to go, and we give you insight as to where you need to go. And the reality is, what you're having is you have a lot of people that they want to live in this simulation of, everything is cookie cakes and candy cakes and rainbows, and all we have to do is talk. You know how fucking ridiculous that is? That's like saying the only way to end racism is just have a conversation with white people. Yeah, that's worked out very well. It's dumb. It's stupid. It's a complete disregard for the seriousness of the situation that we're dealing with. In 7 years, like I said before, these Z's are going to control the primary dating market. They do not give a fuck. It's a guy that I shared, and I'll be sharing his videos going forward, because he's got 100 something subs. He's a zillennial, and like I said, I've told these zillennials more of them need to do content, and so I'm definitely going to be sharing his stuff. You don't need to thank me. You're doing videos that I don't feel like fucking doing, because I don't feel like listening to some of these females. So good job. But he said it. He said a lot of these women, he said men, he says millennials in general. He didn't say men or women. A lot of these motherfuckers are not going to even have their first sexual experience until they're 25 years old. So what you're going to have is some of these millennials are just going to be oversexed. And then you're going to have some of them, they're severely undersexed. So that's going to create a divide. And he's done a couple of videos alluding to a couple of different things. So I'll be sharing that. And then make sure you all sub to his channel. He only got 100 subs and he's doing work. So y'all need to definitely get him over that 1,000. But he was talking about mainly Steph Co. Um, honestly, I would like for Steph to go to the Peep Show. She went on Nurse Nerd. I think it was a candid conversation. It's funny how you got dudes. She's talking about she ain't got pretty privilege, but you got dudes in the chat talking about she's gorgeous, she's this, she's that. Which tells you, which think about it, and we know dudes. Anyway, like I said, there's a lot of emotional manipulation going on, and females, and this is what I would say to women, all y'all that want to talk about what a masculine man is, what this is, saying what a masculine man is just another example of saying what a real man is. All of it is emotional manipulation. We see it, we understand it. Women coming out talking about, you should give the your last name to the child, like all that shit. That shit ain't gonna work. And it doesn't matter if you say the right things for a certain amount of time. Shout out to Ashley W. Y'all are only one wrong thing away from dudes calling that out. Because the thing is, like I said before, it has nothing to do with red pill rage. Like, I have talked for years on this space, and I can stand by every single word, just like in Loki where they say print out everything and sign out everything you ever said. I stand behind every single motherfucking word I've ever said, no matter what emotional state that I've been in. You know why? Because no matter what, whether I'm pissed, annoyed, passionate, I'm always thinking about what I say. I know I talk a lot, but trust me, there's a filter that auto built in. I don't take back nothing I say. And I'm probably one of the most consistent motherfuckers in this space, because the truth is, I was like this before I came to this space. Me being like how I am drew me to the space. Now, I didn't need to find shit out. Now, you have certain things that have reaffirmed a lot of things, that helped me go deeper in a lot of things. Sure. Absolutely. But I've never had the pendulum swing. Because I've never really went through a red pill rage state, because I've always kind of knew how women were and accepted them how they are, both the good and the bad. Now, are they getting ridiculous? Like, this idea that women, like, I've never believed that women don't do what's in their own best interest. You got dudes that are actually believing that women, like, you got dudes that really believe that black women are the backbone of the black community. You got black men that actually believe that shit. I would argue most black men believe that at some level. There's certain things that most black people believe that I learned early on was not, I just observed in the observable world was not true. So I go all the way back to like fucking middle school. Even before, I've always been an observer like that. Always. Even this is why history was one of my best classes. Like, and our history class was kind of like a philosophy class too, because of the type we had what we call an irresponsible white person that was a teacher. He's the type of person that likes to tell you, he tell us that, Saudi Arabia is a dictatorship, the kingdom of Saud. He'll give you the real shit. I pretty much, even though the school I went to was public, by all intents and purposes, it was on par with most private schools that most people would be used to. So at the end of it, and I thrived in those environments because I've always thought outside the box. And then use my analytical ability to kind of confirm or deny certain things, not being emotionally invested in anything. So a lot of these things, these conclusions I came to a long time ago, because I've questioned them. Most black people don't question shit. And I'm talking about men and women. Women only question shit when they don't get the benefits from it, and men generally don't question shit at all, which is why they're so easily manipulated by black women. I've always known, and even in my own family reaffirmed a lot of the bullshit. So anyway, that's kind of the first part. The second part I wanted to do, and I'll probably allude to this later on, is kind of a response to the lead attorney. The lead attorney did a very long video. Shout out to him. And I appreciate him lending his credibility. But and I don't know if he was being devil's advocate. I'm going to assume so. But he was doing this thing where he was shitting on dudes that make $50,000. So I want to kind of, do a quick response to that. First of all, here's the thing about black men that make $50,000, because he was literally saying, well, it doesn't matter, that's above average, that's not a lot of money. And then he was breaking down He was, and I think he was being devil's advocate. Then he was breaking down how, like, with taxes taken out, that's 35,000, and that ain't no real money. Here's the thing. Let's keep the couple of things that I'm gonna say. Number one, when black people were the most married, black people weren't making no money at all when they were the most married. Okay. Also, it stands to reason the lead attorney has no kids and he's not married, and we know he makes well over 6 figures. So my thing is that men are really, yes, it's true. See, we get stupid. When we say that men want to be married more than women, the truth is men are open to marriage. Men are not going to sacrifice the store just to say that they were fucking married. Okay? Because men can always wait. So yes, it's probably more men that are open than women because black men are more traditional than black women. Black men are more conservative than black women. So that stands to reason. But dudes, but it still stands. But dudes are not going to be giving away a story. But also, this idea that 50,000. The reality is, most of these females are not even worth a dude that makes $50,000. Okay. What and also a lot of if non-black men actually that made $50,000 wanted to date these women, a lot of these women would not be complaining. They will take a dude because, again, it's not really about the money like that. It's really not. It's just another way of creating these magical qualifiers. Now, obviously, if you live in New York, San Francisco, or anywhere in California, as far as I'm concerned, Chicago, yes, 50,000 doesn't go far. The Northeast in general, I get all of that. But a man is more than their paycheck. And then people try to say, well, is a man more than their paycheck? Let me tell you right now, any bitch that believes that a man is not worth more than their paycheck, I don't even understand why you're even in the marriage conversation in the first place. You are completely not qualified to be married. And this is the test I always ask too. Whenever anybody says anything like that, if a black woman was presented with a non-black man, would they have these same this bullshit? The answer is no, they would not. So that means that what they're saying is not legitimate. It's not. That's number one. Number two is number two is, and this is why I think a lot of these women really don't want to be married. They just use all these qualifiers as a way of justifying why they're not married, because it's never going to be, well, your values are fucked up. It's always because, they can always try to make the state give them more money. It's always going to be what men are quote unquote not doing. It's always going to be seen that way. And see, this is where this conversation about marriage, let me tell you something. This idea, look, I understand that people are doing this for YouTube channels so they can have what I call YouTube missions. But the reality of the situation is this idea, you're not going to marry your way into fixing the community, because that's skating around the fact that the big Obsidian even said this. The biggest issue with black men and black women is that we don't get along. So if we don't fucking get along, how the fuck you think we're going to get married? And even if Obsidian tries to say, well, we need to work shit out, what is there? Black men are very clear on what the issues are. What black women are like is, when are you all going to come off that bullshit and submit to this gynocracy? That's really the long and the short of it. That's where the arguments are. Now, they may approach that in a direct way with what they've been doing, or go back to the emotional manipulation ways, which is trying to do the covert shit, which is like trying to make the guys that are speaking truth to power the boogeyman. Oh, you red pill guys don't want to get married. You red pill guys, like, because SYSBM is red pill, and SYSBM is not anti-marriage. You red pill guys, you're losers. That's really what they want to say. This is just another way of saying it. You all don't show your face, but they won't talk to dudes like Dennis Sperling, the lead attorney. They won't talk to these guys where they can't pull that bullshit on. They stay away, but they'll talk to people like Yanni Red and shit. You guys don't want this. And even Obsidian did that. So they make these guys the problem. And then what they'll do is they'll try to say, well, black women are the problem, but also black men are the problem. Let's be absolutely clear. Black women are the ones that are impeding these relationships, not black men. Black women are the ones that act like they can't settle. You got women that want to settle the least versus dudes that are willing to settle the most. But see, because it's about views, because it's about money, which makes it really about entertainment, what is really, you got to balance it out because it's about feelings. Because feelings, you look at what, if it's really about the problem, you go to what the heart of the problem is and solve it. If it's about, oh, well, we need people to buy in, and we know women make more money and they buy in, then you got to tell them lies because that's what they want. They don't want to be told. Black women don't want to be told at the end of the day, you're not the backbone. You're actually the destroyer of your community. You basically locked arms with white people to destroy your own community. You let them white bitches manipulate you into doing that. And they still do it till this day. And so basically you are literally probably the biggest impediment of a black community actually being there. You can't tell women that, even though that's the truth. And when you look at who they're having kids with, who they're having babies with, all of that points back to what they're doing. But you can't say that. You can't say that because that's not commercially viable. They'll fucking check out. So dudes lie. They lie. And there's degrees to the lying, but that's what it is. And they want to say, well, the bad guys over there don't want shit. Man, let's keep it real. If it's just a matter of black men and black women getting together, there is not no fucking YouTube space that's keeping that from happening. These guys, the black man, the black woman space is like 10 times bigger than the black manosphere, especially when you take Kevin Samuels out the equation. Black men are a lot more willing to question us than these chicks question the women. And like I said, men are raised from birth to trust women for no reason. Women are raised from birth to not trust men. And even Courtney talked about that. This is where that I wasn't taught shit comes from. No, you were taught something. You were taught to dominate men. You were taught that you were better than men. You're the one that needs help, not your baby father. But we can't say that. It's gotta be, well, men aren't doing this. And then you got motherfuckers saying shit like men gotta be millionaires. Men gotta make 6 figures. Well, bitch, well, if y'all think that's true, y'all not get 5% of black men that are employed make like 120,000 or more. The math doesn't work. Period. If that's what you're saying is requires black women's respect, then black men need to go ahead and create some different type of arrangements because that cannot work. It like Glenn and Cameron says, it's math. And this is why I keep saying that black people are so emotional, both black men and black women, because you all don't like math. The math doesn't, fuck the stats. The math doesn't work. Okay? The math does not work. If you say that 6 figures is what's, and by the way, Kevin ain't saying that. But if you say that, hell, even if you say that 50,000 is a requirement, only like, and this idea that women need to be kept, 70% of white women work. And here's another thing. And this goes to the lead attorney. How come is it only black women really talking this bullshit about 50,000 ain't a lot of money? You don't hear Latin women saying that. You don't hear white women saying that. That is some shit black women say. Ain't nobody saying black women got to get married. They can die alone. But see, the problem is not that black men are not arguing. You notice that black men don't argue that black women are not getting married. Black men are arguing about black women being single mothers. Meaning y'all don't want to be, see, and this is another thing. And obviously this is one clip. That fucking video lead attorney did was goddamn 8 hours. So obviously he may have addressed it, all of this shit. But this is what I would say too. So $50,000 ain't enough for you to get married, but $50,000 is enough for y'all motherfuckers to have babies with niggas. $30,000 is enough for y'all to have a nigga's baby. All these chicks talking about y'all ain't getting no child support because the nigga don't make enough. That didn't stop you from letting him nut in you probably more than once. That didn't stop you from making him wear a condom because that was the first video I ever heard from Derrick Jackson, and I almost got lumped into Derrick Jackson. I had to listen to 2 more videos, realize he was full of shit. But when he said that poverty penis shit, I'm sorry, that shit was facts. That shit was big facts. The poverty penis video that Derrick Jackson did, that was I need to get that video. Because that was big facts. The poverty penis video. And women have no right to say what they won't accept from marriage when they'll accept it, when they'll give a man a baby. So all is, and this, and what lead attorney didn't get that he was saying there, maybe he did get it. He's a smart guy. You got to be a lawyer. And then you got to be as successful as he is on top of that. But, and this is why and obviously he has a really hit panel, so it's hard to get on his panels, but it's because his panels are fire. I would have loved to add in the end of this. I was like, this is how you know they're not qualified for marriage. Because all these females, these are not females that are spinsters that didn't have kids. And I generally don't use the word spinster because honestly, if you're a female and you didn't have a child, I'm not going to sit here and then throw you under a female that basically decided to be a baby mama. Because honestly, if you never had a child, then you're probably better for society than women that did have kids out of wedlock. So that's why I typically don't like to use that terminology because I don't want to like slick this. But the reality of the situation is, you if you didn't have a kid, okay, you can talk that shit about marriage. But if you had a baby by a dude and then you didn't marry, I don't give a fuck about why. You don't have a right to say that. And like Kevin says, you have no right to ask for more than what your baby father did. You have no right to ask for more than what your baby daddy did. You have no right to ask for more. You don't. And so it's not about having an argument for argument's sake. The problem is the reason why the manosphere is a threat is because the manosphere, we're like the anti-MLM movement. We educate the market. And the smarter the market is, the better questions they're going to ask. And if the better questions, yeah, you can live in Charlotte. You can live in Charlotte and you can get a house. The better educated the market is, the less shit y'all gonna get. You all depend on a dumb market. You all depend on dudes basically giving away the store. This is why black men will say, I love black women, I only date black women. You're a dumbass. Even if you say, well, I'm a black man and I'm going to have kids with a black woman if I have kids because I want my grandkids to look like me, that has nothing to do with the woman. That has everything to do with you. If I ask you, why do you do what you do? The first thing that's going to pop in your fucking mind and your fucking brain is, what you doing it for the bitch. Because you believe that you should give all this shit for a woman's cooperation. A woman's cooperation should come fucking standard. It's like a fucking car. Even if I buy the basic model, oh yeah, well, we got rolling windows. Motherfucker, this is 2020. If you don't get I don't care if this is a fucking economy car, you better put some goddamn electric windows in that bitch. Cooperation should be like a motherfucking aux cord. That shit should, any model X amount and up shit, that should come with. And even if it's a damn basic economy car. Fuck you talking about? You fucking serious? A fucking cooperation should be like an ashtray. And what do I mean when I say that? If you're having sex with a man, then you should be cooperating with him at least. If you're not cooperating with him, then why are you fucking him? Because a lot of y'all got control issues. So, and because you all were taught that men are to be dominated, you all are in competition with us. We're not in competition with you. Black men ain't no real black male first movement, but all you hear is black girl magic, black women first, all that. You hear all of that in the political arena, all of that. I don't care about what she's trying to do, because the reality of the situation is Courtney's quite frankly afraid. Courtney understands if she actually comes in front of some of us, especially some of the heavy hitters, she comes in front of BGS, she comes in front of any like even Angry Man, she's gonna be one of them ones where she's really talking to us, she's gonna be very agreeable because our logic is undeniable. So our logic is undeniable. It's just too strong because we've been doing this so long. So when she talks about the red pill community, what she does is very manipulative because the red pill because she, number one, if you notice, whenever she refers to the red pill community, she's talking about MGTOW. MGTOW is a sector of the red pill community, but if you're black, the MGTOW conversation is not even to be talked about. Because if you're a black person, black people rejected MGTOW into Manosphere 2.0. So if you're talking about if you have a channel and only black people are really in the conversation, then MGTOW shouldn't even come out of your mouth because black men rejected MGTOW. Most black men that are red pill are not MGTOW. They rejected MGTOW. Black men resoundingly rejected MGTOW. Yes, you can tag men. So anybody that brings up MGTOW, I automatically know what they're talking about. Even Kevin, like if you listen to Donovan Sharp and listen to some of the heavy hitter people, like think about it, Donovan Sharp doesn't like MGTOW. Kevin doesn't throw red pill under the bus, but this is why when Kevin asked the question about who are you talking about when that was first asked, so automatically that's a manipulation. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. I wouldn't be surprised. Shout out to Dre. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that shit is being planned, because I think personally that K does. I don't think K is that dumb. I think K is told to be kind of like the person that's always questioning shit. I think it's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that they're told to do, and say shit. Because if Anton was constantly questioning red pill, then Anton would get a lot of smoke. So I wouldn't be surprised if Anton doesn't tell Courtney to always do that. Which is why a lot of that shit is entertainment. That's not to be taken seriously. Exactly. And yeah, a lot of these guys are anti-MGTOW. So red pill and MGTOW, red pill is about awareness. MGTOW is a form of what you do with it. And to keep it all the way 100, MGTOW is mainly defined as being anti-marriage because of the laws. Most MGTOWs are not like, oh, I'm just anti-woman. They're anti the laws. Just like feminism is talking about the wage gap and shit. Most MGTOWs, a lot of MGTOWs, if you reform the laws, you would cut like at least half of them in half, easy, instantly. So and then MGTOW going your own way is literally about improving yourself and not chasing women. But see that all of that shit gets lost in the sauce. All of that gets lost in the sauce. North Carolina's cost of living is going up, especially in Raleigh and Charlotte. But if you're willing to live like an hour away, absolutely. And so my thing is, when people say 50,000 is not enough, number one, at the end of the day, I'm all for black people making as much money as possible. But the reality of the situation is, let's cut all the bullshit. A lot of y'all don't want to be married. And if y'all want to put all these fucking qualifiers in it, then why even have a conversation? You know, when people talk about what do I like, and it was funny because people want to come and me talk about, well, what are you doing as a man? It doesn't fucking matter what I'm doing as a man, because that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is you the one saying that if you want to as a woman, if you want to get married, then we're only like Ron G said it the best. He said, men that don't want to get married, why are they even in the conversation? Because they've already said they don't want to get married. That's what he said. That's what they said. He don't want to get married. It's like saying I want to have great sex. It's like I want to have great sex and I want a bad bitch. And then somebody tells me, well, what about fat women? What about fat women? I want a bad bitch. So the question is, what does a bad bitch want? Not what, like, that makes no sense. But see, that's that programming. See, it's about you needing to qualify yourself to her. That's what Mike Rashid said, so I could qualify myself to a woman. They want you to qualify yourselves to her. What Kevin is basically saying is, bitch, you all are not worth being qualified for. And what I say is, if you think you're great, I invite you to go take your fucking ticket to another group of men. African, Caribbean, white, Hispanic, Jewish, take your pick. If you're really better, go do better. Kerosene, perfect example. Kerosene got a dude that was the dude that she wanted, the black dude. She basically had a baby on that nigga to try to trap him. He called her bluff. She got a white dude that right? She had to basically, he had to make more money than her. Like, he had to build that up. He wasn't making more money than her at first. They're divorced now. 4 kids later. The point is, she could not do better outside the race than she could inside the race. Now, people will say, well, isn't that true for black men? Well, why don't black women ever call our bluff? You see, black men will tell a black woman, if you think you can do better, then I invite you to go try. You'll never hear a black woman say, if you think you can do better, date out, go overseas, try to find a better black woman than me. Try to find a better woman than me. You'll never hear that. You'll never hear black women dare black men to try to go find a better black woman than them. You'll never hear that. You'll never hear dudes say that. Well, if y'all think y'all bet the black woman, you notice how, say what you want to, O'Shea, Umar, any Pan-Africanist, any well, I won't throw O'Shea in here completely, but Boyce Walk, any of these guys that really try to advocate for black women, you notice you'll never hear them say, you'll never do better than a black woman, and I invite you to go try. Go see for yourself what's out there. They may try to tell you that all these women are the same everywhere, but they'll never really dare you to go find out for yourself because they're not confident. They know when you do, you're not It's like letting the goddamn dog out of a horrible household. They gonna run away as fast as possible and they ain't never coming back. Or it's like letting a bird fly. They ain't coming back. Yo, this bread sweet tea is the truth, yo. There's no such thing as pussy policing. There's a such thing as dick policing. You don't got black men dating out and then they coming back with they newfound pro black with some kids. You got women doing that. Let's cut the cap. So the problem with the red pill is exactly what the red pill stands for: awareness. You all are starting to realize the biggest impediment, one of the bigger impediments to basically black men coming together is black men being aware of what goes on. Because then because these women are not qualified. This is why all these, like April Mason, all these qualities, femininity females that's come before y'all, this shit don't work because y'all can't hide who you are. And a lot of y'all, what you're trying to do is wear masks and create these masks on. And then what you all think is that dudes are just gonna fall for that shit. And the problem is you got dudes that are basically out here we're basically just telling the game what it is, and that's a problem. And so the way we got to speak to that is by basically lying. This is why folks never get specific on their talking points, and they always keep it what men have to do, what women have to do. You know, black men don't want to really get married. Well, black men want to get. Here's the thing: if there's enough black men that want to get married, or more black men that want to get married, well, guess the fuck what? That goes counter to social media stopping black men from. So why aren't black women? Here's the question: if you're in a situation where black men want to get married more than black women, then what's the problem? Because black men control relationships, right? What's the problem? You can't say red pill is the problem. Here, I'm only pulling a couple of people. I'm only pulling, if BGS wants to hop on, definitely hop on BGS. BGS is the only one I'm pulling on. He's the only one I'm pulling up. So any of y'all come up. Drake can come up too. Anybody else? I'm not, because I ain't trying to make this a long video. Leave that open for y'all. Anybody else, y'all come in, y'all gonna be mad. If y'all try to come up, because I'm not gonna pull you. Morpheus, I said I'm only pulling up BGS and Dre. I appreciate you, man, but I'm not trying to do this forever. Like I wanted to make it open for them to come up. They want to come up for a second, so I'm only pulling them two up. But yeah, sorry, Morpheus. It's late. But yeah, these people, and by the way, BGS Stefco did a video with Nurse Nerd, so I'm gonna check that out, see what that's about. I kind of saw clips and bits and pieces of it. But yeah, at the end of the at the but at the end of the day, man, a lot of y'all are coming in here and y'all are really newbies. No, absolutely. It ain't old men. These are why only old men. It's because like it ain't only whatever, man. At the end of the day, like I was saying, the problem is that you all understand. The problem is you all understand that the more aware these dudes are, the more they're aware of their value. That's a problem because that's a problem with you. You all understand that you all are not getting away. You all can't go anywhere else and get a better deal. Now, we're not talking about black women that are eights, nines, or tens. They operate outside of kind of that stream. But you know this. We know this. And a lot of these dudes, they have been beaten down and downtrodden. And you see that being done at a young age as boys. And this is the loop that goes around and around. So the argument now is I'm not showing favoritism. I'm just not trying to have a whole fucking panel. And I'm not. That is what it is. And you could call people losers all they want to. At the end of the day, we can just charge this is just entertainment. And then but let's be clear here. A black man that wants to be with a black woman, there is nothing stopping. The internet is not stopping a black man from being with a black woman. And see, this is an offshoot of the argument of, well, if this gender war wasn't going on YouTube, the gender war is an extension of what's going on in real life. Morpheus 22 says, I can't take Jason Black seriously. What he said was true about making black women submissive. Why is he married? Well, Jason Black talks about women being a disciplinary problem. And the truth is that, the truth is, Ayan, the younger generation is worse than the old generation. The younger generation ain't even trying to have conversation with women like that. So, and even if Jason Black is not a friend of the red pill, and even if Jason Black, you talk to Jason's not gonna. I mean, we know what Jason's about. Jason is gonna say yes, black men need to be on their square. But the reality is, if you want to be married to a certain type of black man, then you waiting for black men to get on their square. You would be a fool. If you really want to get married, then black men being on the square should have nothing to do with it, because you're only generally looking at the men how to get the men that you want. And I've said that. I've said black men Achilles is working together. But understand, John, shout out to John 8110 1. You said black women 403 stage is too damn long. Nurse Nerd asks good questions. Solid interview. Black men Achilles is working together. Black women is their broken sexuality. Understand something though. Black men working together, that's a group problem, but that has nothing to do with black women marrying a black man. A black woman's broken sexuality directly affects her ability to actually get married by a man that she wants. You see what I'm saying? So again, well, Jason Black is unmarried because these women aren't marriageable. That's why he's not a fool. That's why he's not married. But straight like that, if you really, my thing is this: if somebody is sincere about wanting to talk to Ray, there's plenty of people you can talk to if you really want to understand what's going on. Now, if you just want to speak to it and then get on your platform and pretty much do what essentially is bashing shit, because that is what it is. When you're throwing these like little attacks that have like they really don't go anywhere, you know, what you're trying to do is emotionally manipulate the guys and saying, oh, I don't want to be like those red pill guys, they're bad, I want to. So you push them into trying to gas up black women and emotionally, like, this is that fucking emotionally, you don't want to be like these non-high value men that are not emotionally intelligent. Remember what Steph Co said in BGS's breakdown. She, out of all these values about men, she she jumped on emotional intelligence because that's where her biggest gap is as far as how she feels. Another thing too, by the way, is anybody that likes to overuse character, they like to talk about character. Let's be clear here, and I would say this to Steph Co, and I would say this to any female. You motherfuckers are not fucking on character. Okay? I don't know who the fuck you think you talking to. I don't know who the fuck you think you talking about. But that is like the quintessential ugly girl argument. Or it's the weak nigga argument. Men, you know, I'm gonna tell you something. Men that know they can get bitches without money because they know they're quote unquote in the select category genetically, you notice they never go out of their way to talk about money doesn't matter because that's inconsequential to them, because that's not an impediment. Men that know that they've been disqualified because of money and their looks don't override that. And when I say looks, I mean like the masculine presence they present to make a woman want to fuck. Those dudes tend to be the dudes that want women to come off of the money shit because they know that they got to pay that tax. Now, granted, they are still in the game because women may like how they look, but they don't like how they look so much where they going to make it extra easy for them. They ain't going to give them the free skip a line directly to the roller coaster shit. And it was one woman on the lead attorney and whatever. Like, these women were sounding like on some other shit, masculine as hell. But, she was talking about how she carried men, and then folks are calling her a simp. Ma'am, you are a simp. You bought a man. No, like if that man is not your husband, you should not be carrying a dude. If you looked a certain type of way, you would not need to pay for him. I'm not hating on it, but that's the game. So when you sit here and talk about you carrying a nigga is you own a carrying that only works if you want the dude enough. He needs to, yeah, you're right. He needs to start cutting them streams and re-upload them. But hey, I'm not gonna hate on him because I appreciate a dude lending his credibility on that. And I'm glad he gets the support he gets because we do need to encourage other like credible dudes to do that. The more dudes that get out here, the better. So I ain't hating on it. But so when women talk about, oh, I carried all these men, you played yourself. Congratulations. You played yourself. That's that alpha showpiece thing. What you call it was BGS. The dude that was talking to BGS was talking about. Y'all are buying these dudes. And guess what? Some of y'all are going to have to. I'm not hating on that. But the reality of the situation is, if you, just like when a man simps for a woman or a man takes a woman out on a date, you ain't supposed to really complain about that because that's part of being a man. If a woman is carrying a dude, you're carrying a dude because you can't do better than that dude. You know that. So you don't get to cry these crocodile tears like this. The men don't owe you shit, just like a woman don't owe me shit just because I take her out on a date. If you do all, like, if you spending money on a chick and you overspending and you're not making sure you're getting what the fuck you need to get for that, that's on you. You played yourself. You fucking played your damn self. And y'all, and you don't get to cry and try to make that a commentary on black men, just like black men don't make that commentary on you. If you want these outfits, you don't have to pay for them. And that's on y'all. That's where you are at your level. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that's that's not a guarantee. You all think because you pay for a dude that's a guarantee he's supposed to be loyal to you. That dudes understand that's not a guarantee. So all this little crocodile crying that y'all do, no, you played yourself. It is what it is. You live in a life that dudes have always lived. We know if you want looks, you're gonna have to pay for it. Same that goes in reverse. Congratulations. All that strong, independent, I don't need no man shit, that paved the way for that environment. But anyway, like I said, an hour 19 minutes. But like I was saying, yo, um, women are out here still to this day having babies by niggas that they wouldn't marry. I want y'all to really think about that. And then they turn around and then they want to fucking talk about why they not married, or they want to talk about men want to get married, or you supposed to qualify yourself as a man. It's like, look, y'all the one is talking about y'all want to get married, and y'all want to get married. And if you notice, like I said, you got to pay attention to demographics, because when you're dealing with that 37 to like 43 crowd, that's going to be a completely different situation than that 31 to 36 crowd, which is going to be a completely different situation than that 25 to 30 crowd. Those are completely different marks or situations. So women are all, and we all know women are going to say what's in their best interest. Like straight up. So when you got motherfuckers out here, like shout out to Dre. I mean, like Dre's story is fucking incredible when you really think about it. And Dre's an alpha male. So I mean, if he going through this shit, the fuck? So all that, oh, well, you gotta be an alpha male and get submitted. That's bullshit. I know, like a lot of these alpha males will tell you that's bullshit. A lot of these old school men dudes will tell you that's bullshit. Like being an alpha male don't exempt you from a woman doing bullshit. In fact, a lot of times alpha males go through more shit because these women are more emotionally like annoyed. Women turn that shit up to 11. See, women can emotionally manipulate beta males. That's easy. It's hard for women to emotionally manipulate alpha males because they're sexually attracted. And that sexual attraction doesn't mean that they acquiesce and submit. What it means is they got to start really using white power. This is why I always tell you, for those of y'all that want to act like, oh, well, it's about all these niggas that are beta males, go to the child support court and you're going to see a whole bunch of dudes that women at least said, they were good enough to have their baby. Small, give us shut up. Drea maintain that frame upside your head. I've seen it. I've seen it in older dudes that I know. The dudes that go through the most shit be the dudes that are the most alpha, unless they playing that alpha male brute pandering shit. But when you talk about dudes that are like patriarchal alpha, oh hell no. These women use white power like fucking North Korea. No, they say, no, I got something for your ass. I got this white police officer of the law. I got something on your ass. I got this white court. That's why, and I've never said that, but when dudes be trying to say, oh well, it's because you ain't alpha, and I'm like, man, please. That why you think Bernard had to go through what he went through? Why do you think Angry Man had to go through what he went through? Why do you think Mr. Palmer? Notice the dudes. Notice how many bitch niggas have you seen really go through some real child support shit? All these niggas that got stories. Archer. I'm giving you different guys, different ages, different backgrounds, different skin tones. So we know that's bullshit. So when they talk about even that alpha male bull, that's bullshit. And I've never really brought that up, but because I don't bring up everything. I don't bring up everything. I sometimes I do leave some things out just to see how certain people are going to respond. But that's why when people talk about, oh, well, what a masculine man, that bullshit. As soon as you get used to, like, you cannot, let me tell you something. An ungrateful bitch is an ungrateful bitch. Even like I'll give you a perfect example. Take a guy like Shaq, Shawnee O'Neal. Take a guy like Tim Duncan, wasn't even with a black woman. Take a guy like Kevin Garnett, wasn't even with an ADOS black woman. She was Dominican. Like you got NBA players. These niggas are alpha money, alpha physicality. Football players. The Haskins situation. So he must have somehow lost his alpha frame, which is why she thought. Now a lot of that is his fault because he picked wrong. Same thing with the PJ Tucker. A lot of them they pick wrong. But my point is, these are dudes that are like top like 0.0001% in a variety of categories. Yet, same thing with Fantastic. Exactly. Yet, it doesn't matter. Now, let's compare that to Camille Cosby. Let's compare that to Magic Johnson's wife. Like, if you actually look at let's compare that to Beyonce with Jay-Z. If you look at the women, the dudes actually stay, the common denominator is how the woman is yoked. Yeah, and she's white. Tim Duncan's wife is white. The common denominator is the woman. It is, and at the end of the day, that woman is going to reveal herself to see when women try to say, I'm who I am, depending on a man. BGS said this, and he said the pimp said this. Women are loyal to the game. And if you fit what they're trying to do in the game and they accept that, then you're good. But a lot of times it's your turn. And they will turn on you no matter what the fuck you do, no matter how self-improved you are. Look at Derrick Jackson and his wife. I mean, seriously. And that doesn't always have to do with looks. That has to do with culture. This is why you can have women talking one way and living another. So they talking about, well, I did my baby father wrong, but you still accepting other suitors and you're not getting with them. And come to find out, from what I'm observing, it ain't like he's the reason y'all not together. You see, this is the game, and they all want you in this. Roger calls it being compromised. They want you in this compromised situation. Now, people will say, well, you must hate women. You must not be a man. No, no, no. I know women for what they are, and I accept that. I don't get mad. I don't get angry. I don't get mad or angry about it. I know the games you're playing. And I'll give you a perfect example. And I'm going to end this video with this. Most of y'all come to me and y'all say, well, you talk about Pink Book, you talk about Love Dorsey, Chantel Simone, Nurse Nerd, April Mason before that. You know, why are you bringing up all these women? If they're bad, why are you bringing up all these women? Why do you even bring up all these women? I bring up these women because again, they make great points. When a woman is I forget what I'm saying, the chick that basically flip. But the point is, I never put I won't say never, but I'm never emotionally invested in what these women say. When they make sense, they make sense. When they don't, they don't. I could believe that. That might be the one thing I haven't considered. When they make sense, when they don't, they don't. I'm not emotionally invested. I don't need women on YouTube to validate my reality. I don't need them to say, oh, these women are changing, it's going to be okay. I know women that are married to black men. I know women that are great women that they made the dudes of their husbands now wait because they thought they could do better for a time. And then they said, all right, it's time for me to settle down. And they settled down. I know women that do it the right way. I know women that come from families of women that didn't do it the right way, but they did it the right way. A lot of the women that I know are still married to the dudes they've been married for a while. I take telling y'all, like I know the thing with me is I know the difference between the ones, I know the degrees to it. And I'm not an expert, but I'm not in an emotionally compromised situation where I need to I'm going to drink the sauce and then now I'm just going to be hooked. No. So I can allow myself to kind of, say, ooh, look at this person. Look at what they're saying. This makes sense. I appreciate it. Yay. Jessica X2. Yay. It's good. Look, these are the points. But it doesn't hurt me. A lot of y'all, sometimes folks will talk like, it's almost like talking to a female and it's like, I can't be rejected, so I just don't want to approach. versus you get to a point where if your mindset is a certain way when it comes to rejection or qualification and your emotions are in line with that, it ain't nothing for you to talk to a chick. Hell, you may not even talk to a chick with the expectation of actually hollering at her. You might just strike up a conversation with her and then seeing where it goes, because you just see that as a conversation. You don't see that as, well, I'm walking up to her. Will she say yes? Will she not say yes? I need her to validate my manhood. You don't even think of it like that. You just think about it. I'm just talking to somebody and I'm having a random conversation. That's how I think about it. So I'm not in this all, well, when if they go bad, I'm like, oh my God, see, they're all like, I don't think that way. And this is why a lot of these women that listen to me will say I'm fair. Because I stick to the points. I'm not out here talking about what you look like. I need to know about your relationship. No, I'll go on what you say. And if you're lying, I'll be able to tell. But I'll even be able to use that as a conversation. Like, if you look at the video Courtney did in particular, because this ain't just about her, but this ain't mainly about her. But if you look at the video she did again with her, the baby father, and then you play that, and then you immediately play that shit with Ron G. Ron G. As far as I'm concerned, Courtney was that chick that Ron G was talking about in a different relationship. That's the same thing. And a lot of these women don't really understand the damage they do, and they think crying some crocodile tears is going to fix that shit. No, it's not. And this is why a lot of these guys are really sounding the alarm. Y'all could talk about y'all hate. Here's the thing. You want to destroy the red pill? It's very simple. You need to get off the bullshit and change. That's it. And I would say change the laws. If y'all don't want to change, make it so change, help these laws get changed. Well, shouldn't men do that? Men can't do that because there's too many simps that want to believe the lies that women tell. Yeah, you right, Rich, and that's why I'm glad you brought that up with Shawnee. And pay attention how you get her. If you get a woman over some shady shit, then chances are you're gonna lose her over some shady shit. And Shaq's ego got in the way of that. Shaq probably thought he was that nigga, and you can tell he still think he was that nigga. That fucked him up. But anyway, all right, y'all. It's been a good little hour and a half. But yeah, people can say what they want, all they want, talking about the red pill is the enemy. I mean, we've been called the enemy before, but at the end of the day, you all are gonna have to beat our logic. And don't think because you got folks got some YouTube views that's gonna mean some shit. Because shout out to Artisan. Because the reality of the situation, is that these guys will find out the easy way or they'll find out the hard way. That's what I'm saying. If a black man wants, I will not argue with no black man about him marrying a black woman. If you want to get married to a black woman, go ahead, get married to a black woman. But don't act like you didn't do it with eyes wide open. I'm not here to tell you to not marry a black woman. I'm here to tell you to be smart. Now, if you want to sit here and argue with me, why the fuck do you need me to validate what the fuck you want to do? If you so sure, go do it. Why the fuck are you on YouTube in the first place? I'm talking to what I would say to a dude. I wish a dude would come on, yeah, man, well, the problem is the manosphere. I'd be like, how would the manosphere stopping black men from getting married? Like, I mean, if everything we saying is cap and lies, if everything we saying ain't true, then it shouldn't matter. We're just a bunch of random motherfuckers on YouTube. Why do you give a bunch of random people on YouTube wait to give a life decision? That makes no fucking sense. And shout out to Glenn and Cameron, because Glenn and Cameron was actually talking about how he said 90% of the information on YouTube as far as starting a real business is garbage. He was calling that shit out because, for real, why are you listening to black men, to men, as far as what you should do with your bitch? Because, like, seriously, it shouldn't matter. Why is it that you need to defeat us? This is what I would ask dudes. So, because when people say, well, we need to come together, first of all, everybody's not on social media. Well, we need to come together, and you got people that they're invested in us not coming together. No, let's stop playing the black men and black men are very clear. We have points that need to be solved. If they're solved, we're good. What the friction comes in is people arguing against solving them. Shout out to Artisan Mac, man. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm about to put in Artisan Mac's channel. He does a weekly and I'm doing this, I ain't doing it, I'm doing this because it needs to be done. He has a weekly channel, a weekly video that deals in geekdom and stuff. I mean, he's a dude that has a geekdom shop, everything, so he's really doing the damn thing, right? And all y'all need to subscribe to it, because that's what this space is supposed to be about. So I'm gonna put the link in here. All y'all need to subscribe to it, because I'm gonna start going over there probably going over there because I definitely like to talk about the geekdom stuff. No, I haven't seen that, and Red's gonna do the response, but that shit don't matter. Like, that shit don't matter. A lot of these motherfuckers are on here for gossip entertainment. We're on here to educate black men, okay? So if motherfuckers want to be on here for gossip entertainment, they want to be on here to try to say black men are the enemy, the red pill are the enemy. Because essentially what these women are trying to do is get a lot of the fucking purple pill and blue pill simps. These niggas that want to emotionally validate women. Remember what I said, black men would rather be liked than respected. But they somehow believe that that's that anti-patriarchy bullshit. And so, yeah, if you want to do that, go ahead and do that. Yeah, if y'all, but I'm gonna tell you something. When it comes down to it, them niggas ain't dumb. A lot of them niggas will tell you what the fuck you want to hear. But if you look at some of their situations, if they look at their own situations, they not living how they talking. They either not living like Umar. O'Shea just did a video with Umar saying what? Umar talking about you gotta be open to a polygamous relationship. These motherfuckers are lying. They're emotionally dope dealing. And these dumbass females are falling for it while they get older and older. And I mean that. Y'all niggas need to go over there. And I didn't put that link in there for no reason. Go in there and subscribe to it. Like, it is like, I'm gonna keep it real. You got somebody that owns a fucking comic book shop, and he's getting 20 people. He's in this space getting 20 people when he's taking the time out his day to do a thing on a comic shop. Most of these motherfuckers on these, look, and I look at a lot of channels. I'm not gonna front, but most of these people on these other channels ain't actually got. I only know maybe one other channel, and I'm not gonna mention it. It's like actually got a comic shop. The rest of them don't. And I'm not hating on them for being in their room and shit, but they ain't got a whole thing. So straight up, y'all need to go over there. And I know y'all be talking about this geekdom stuff. We go check out the video where we were talking about Loki and some of the red pill stuff in there. And shout out to Karen that came in there. She was coming in ready to argue. I'm like, yo, this is geekdom shit. This shit ain't no relationship shit. And she was like, well, I just don't think it was a good movie. Okay, you don't have to. This is just movies. You don't have to fucking think it's a good movie. I mean, shit. A lot of us, we like the MCU. We like a good movie. You're gonna talk about the adaptation, but some people get too emotional about it. And some people do that over views, straight up. But she was literally ready to argue. The channel, like, just go look, click on the link. Click on the link. That's the channel. Artisan stuff is a little bit obscure right now. It's Artisan MC. If you need to Google something, and it's like once a week. So yeah, but we need to build that up, because quite frankly, like, honestly, we got an advantage over a lot of these guys because we got a viewership. So a lot as you start to get more of this, like these TV shows, a lot of these black actors, actresses, we can kind of give, I think, a unique perspective on that. So yeah, man, that shit should blow. Like, honestly, his shit should be blowing up, like, straight up. There should be no reason. I mean that. And I'm going to really start being a lot more heavy-handed about that, because I'm not going to try to create multiple channels for multiple different things. It's better for us to create hubs where if BGS wants to go there, Charles wants to go there, other one of us wants to go there. So we got like one or two hubs, because, our Artisan does his thing once a week. So it's probably room for like another channel, because I know Roger and them do the Black Dimension. But I'm probably going to deal with Artisan right now. And there ain't no background way of me doing that. I'm doing that because it needs to be done. And I think more of it. Well, absolutely, you're right. Women do pay up, Smurgo, but that's all it is. Is niggas getting around women, and what it is are uh, they care about. It's that fucking mommy complex shit where it's like, oh well, I gotta be happy. I gotta have women happy around me, so I'm gonna lie. It's them saying I need to do whatever makes them happy, even at the expense of what is in their what is the truth. So they get up there and they start doing this little subjective bullshit. And then and that's another thing about the red pill. The red pill is not built for women's emotions. This is men talking very direct. So I understand. So the problem is you all think that men are supposed to cater to you. No, we're not. And this is one, and see, Kevin has already said this. This is how men talk. So we're supposed to modulate ourselves for you. Who the fuck are you? And I'm saying that's to any female. You're in our space, and then you expect us to cater to you. It's not us beating you up. We're talking to you like we would talk to any other dude, but you expect us, well, I need me. And see, these are coming from women that want to claim, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, but I'm so fragile like a snowflake. I need you to carry I need as strong as independent as black women try to act like they are, they're very emotionally weak. They really are. They seriously. Even for a feminine woman. Like they're very emotionally fragile because a lot of that is machismo and ego. So motherfuckers get around us, and because they don't emotionally like certain logic things that are being said, now it becomes we're toxic, we're this, we're this. I'm like, yo, get the fuck out of here with that. My thing is very, very the like when you look at Nurse Nerd and how she was interviewing Stephanie, she was a Steph coach, she was throwing logic out there. And you couldn't say, well, you're light skinned, you're this. She's pretty much the same phenotype as Steph Co. With a couple of more, with probably some more, I ain't trying to, she's married, but you can look on there and you see shit. So at the end of the day, and it just annoys me. It's like we've been doing this for as long as we've been doing it, and these motherfuckers are still trying to come in here and say the same shit. I'm like, you're not helping nobody. The only thing you're doing is growing a channel, which is fine. But the reality is, all the dudes that want to believe this is another term I'm gonna start using. I'm gonna start calling it plausible plausibility. A lot of dudes, what they're looking for, a lot of people, what black people are looking for is shit ain't that bad and shit can just be fixed. They're looking for plausible plausibility. And see, if I wanted to create a channel and sell that, you can actually create a YouTube channel around that. That's really what a lot of this purple pill shit is. This is why I've always said that we need to control it. And we need to build it from our perspective that's more rooted in truth and awareness and not rooted in this plausibility bullshit. Where it's like, well, I just need to know. It's just like when people, and Glenn and Cameron talks about this, about the make money space, as far as the side hustle space, how they try to make it like it's so easy. You should see some of the shit he going through. He's going through some straight Grand Theft Auto bullshit. And that's that's exactly how relationships are. But see, it wouldn't be pro-black to talk about how these motherfuckers are just doing the fucking most with him putting money in his business. Like, go look at those videos on the Money Lab and go look at some of the stories he's saying. Relationships are just like that, but they will have you believe that women can be trusted. Women don't trust other women. Women can be trusted. Oh, that's just some women, not most women, even though you can see this in every area of activity at a massive level. Even though I could show you a video of a black woman 10 years ago talking about how most women think. 10 years ago. This shit has completely gotten worse than then. Sha'Carri Richardson was like 12 years old when that video was done. I want y'all to really understand that. And you got motherfuckers trying to act like, this is some new shit, that this can be fixed. Like this shit is just not off the goddamn rails already. You fucking serious? Black pill, purple pill they may be aware that there's something deeper than the surface level, but they still quote unquote technically believe in the blue pill shit. Black people, black pill is really about acceptance that shit ain't gonna change. You know what a good example of a black pill dude, without being ultra negative about it, go look at the end of Loki and go look at the black dude in Loki in the end. That's an example of like a purple pill dude. It's not only awareness, it's acceptance that the shit ain't gonna change. Unless certain environmental things change, the change is not in. Black pill is about accepting change. Your change is really not in your control. Group change is not in your control. You may be to control your own position in a situation, but you're completely subject to the environment. It's kind of like tectonic plates. That's the kind of nicest way of putting it. Well, no, it's not about it's deeper than that. It's not about there's no hope. It's over. It's about understanding cycles. Like when BGS talks about, like, it's the Asians' turn and then the Africans' turn, and so it was the white people's turn. That is about cycles. That's not about no hope. You all interpret that as no hope, and we typically speak to it as no hope. But you're saying no hope in relation to an outcome that you would want it to be. No, the difference between an incel, hold on, I want to be very clear here, Jim Rat. The difference between an incel and a black pill person is an incel refuses. This is the difference between an incel. And being an incel is more of a personal situation. Being black pill is more of commentary or more of a perspective on the environment around you. Being an incel is more, exactly. Incels are actually more blue pill. Smurgo's right. Incels are more blue pill to try to pretend to be black pill because they try to give themselves meaning. Understand too that most incels, like for instance, most of your white incels are incel. Like if they dated black, they could date black women, and you would get rid of 70% of you would get rid of like half of your incels. So a lot of people like to say incels are pretty much these like they really want to say incels have a mental illness. That's really what they want to say. They just don't go that far. They want to talk about motherfuckers that are autistic or on the spectrum or some shit like that. That's not true. That's just the propaganda in order to try to get men to want to go. Like an alpha male, a real man is a man that does what a bitch wants and caters to a bitch's feelings. That's that game. That's that Ponzi. That's that emotional Ponzi scheme that gets played. And at the end of the day, what I always come back to is this. I always come back to there is nothing that we say that doesn't fit common sense. There's nothing that we say that doesn't fit the common sense test. Shout out to Adam Williams for the $2 super chat. And there's nothing that we say that doesn't fit the common sense test. And you got motherfuckers that they will swear that like we're just angry, we're upset. And it's like, you don't like, that's such a cop out. Well, you men, you're just angry, you're upset. And that's why I'm glad BGS said, yeah, black men have every right to be angry. I'm glad he said that. And I would love for BGS to say that too. I would love for BGS to say that to Courtney. I would love for him to say that to a female that says that, to see how they respond. Because how are you going to respond to a black man that is not even sexually attracted to white women like that? This got 3 kids. This got 3 kids. They kids got kids. So he's got apparently attractive kid. I mean, how can, like, seriously, you gonna really pull that bullshit on them? See, they say that shit in the wind because they know if you say that to the wrong person and you gotta qualify that, now you look stupid. So again, it becomes about propaganda, which makes sense why some of the people they bring up. And this is about anybody, because this, you can throw this out to the roommates, you can throw this out a lot of things. But my point is, y'all not helping nobody. All y'all are doing is speaking to people that really don't. Y'all are no different than the black people that believe the white ice is colder, and they always out here voting for the Democratic Party because they believe the Democratic Party is going to save them, but they're technically still bought in. That's what y'all are doing. Y'all are just lulling people back to sleep. Y'all are just basically getting people to accept their shit. And that's why me personally, like if I were to get on a Lapeef show, this is exactly what I would say. Like straight up. If I was going to get in a roommates, a Lapeef show, any of the Mr. Lego, any of these guys, I would say, look, A lot of y'all are fighting the inevitable. A lot of y'all dudes that would listen to Mr. Let Go, listen to a lot of these kind of purple pill spaces. I'm gonna call them purple pill. A lot because they try to acknowledge the red pill shit, but try to act like it's this. A lot of y'all need to go ahead and find a black woman, the best black woman that y'all could find, that's domineering. That y'all need to stop acting like when it comes down to it, y'all are not going to accept it. Either you're not going to get married or you're going to be a submissive husband. All of this, well, we need to have a conversation. Understand something. The women are not going to change. Even if the environment changes, they're going to adjust. But as soon as they got you in a situation where they can do the bullshit, they're going to do the bullshit. It's going to happen. So if you're out here trying to listen to somebody to validate, what you want to do, don't do that. Just do it because you already want to do it. Whatever you want to do, stop looking for people to validate what you want to do. Like, I don't understand that. If you want to marry a black woman and black women are not that bad, then go find you a black woman and marry them. End of. Let's cut the bullshit. So all of this shit about let's talk, what are we talking about? What are we really having a conversation about? That's what I would like to ask people. What black men and black women don't get along. Okay, let's only talk about black men. Let's only talk about black men for a second. What is it that black men need to do to get to make black women magically just not be who they are? Well, no, I'm serious. I think black men. So what? Do black men need to be a millionaire, a billionaire? What is it? Give me some numbers to where give me some things, some qualities that if a black man hits these check boxes, any bitch that doesn't capitulate, if a bitch doesn't capitulate to that, then that means that the problem's her. There is no argument. Let's start there. Let's start with height. Let's just give it all of that. Because let's say he said, well, if a dude is 6 foot, okay, only 14% of men are 6 feet. The average man is 5'9". I don't know what the median is. That's an interesting thing. The median height in America. Yeah, so the average height is 5. They say the average. They're not saying what the median. So basically, So basically 5'9" to 5'8". That's the average. Okay. So what about money? Well, they need to make 6 figures. Look, only like if you're gonna deal with black people, you're dealing with like 5%, if that. And that number's getting smaller, not bigger. I mean, these are the facts. So essentially, you have a math problem, and for the women that are, time is not moving for nobody. So we're not gonna get like a whole bunch of dudes. You're not gonna add like 5% to the 6-figure category in like a couple of years. So, and then none of these guys are talking about dating interracially. They won't speak to that to expand the numbers. It's a math problem. And nobody wants to talk about that because, women don't like logic. It's a math problem. Like I said before, it's a math problem. And you got people out here wanting to argue that because women, and I get it, women only see the guys they're sexually attracted to. And that's why they always saying stupid shit like, oh, well, ain't no good men out here, because that's code for the men I want to fuck are not good men. Well, that's a personal problem. That's not really a problem with the men, because men have very clear definitions of what women need to do, and it's really not that much. But the women honestly don't believe they should do anything, and there's degrees to that. And that's why I brought up Courtney, because Courtney is an example of the quote-unquote degree to it. And so, yeah, she said some nice stuff, but ultimately, and I'm not, and nobody's saying this shit is not without criticism, but the reality is, it's not about the criticism per se. It's the type, it's how you're going about doing it. You're not being specific. You're really not being honest. And you want to keep this shit, you want to like keep this shit in a certain box, which is something that people did 5 years ago. Fucking Chrissy used to do that shit. Paris used to do that shit. They all used to do that shit. Like, I can pull up videos from SWP going back and forth with Chrissy. They did the same shit. They did the same shit. They never want to get specific because they understand that they can't beat certain points. So what they do is they talk around them, and it sounds very subjective as hell. Well, I have a problem with red. What about this red pill? Well, they're MGTOW. Okay, so that sounds like you just talking some shit off some random shit, but you don't have any context to what you're talking about. Because if you're a black channel and you only deal with black people, most black men are not MGTOW. Most black men are not MGTOW. Well, black men don't want to get, no, it's not that black men don't want to get married. Black men are saying that black marriage is a bad deal. There's a difference. There's a difference between being like Ramil, which Ramil is diametrically opposed to marriage. Most dudes are not where Ramil is. Most dudes reserve the right to change their mind about marriage. Just like black women are not, like, think about it. Black women are not like anti-marriage, right? But black women have all these fucking qualifiers to be married. Now, do they have those qualifiers to have a baby? No, which is something Kevin talks about. That's the same thing with men. Men have qualifiers. You need to not be fat. You need to we'll throw in not be in debt. You need to not be a bitch. You need to not have a kid. That's really it. You don't even have dudes talk about body count like that anymore. A lot of dudes have ceded body count. They just talk about a baby. Black men have already said the same thing. You don't need to be fat. You don't need to have a kid, and you don't need to be a bitch. And then, as far as the marriage piece, then we need to adjust some of these laws because you all can just get divorced. So it sounds like y'all want to be married, but y'all don't want to stay married. Well, what about the dude? Well, you know what? We can play that game all we want to, because at the end of the day, these niggas are not changing after they get married. I'm getting tired of that bullshit. And if y'all cared about what a dude was doing so much, y'all wouldn't be having babies by a lot of these nothing ass niggas all the time. So again, you still got people where they're still trying to fight the truth, and they somehow believe you're going to talk your way. You're going to somehow talk your way into a prosperous black community. That shit's a joke. That shit is childish. And that shit, quite frankly, like, I don't even know what to say about that. That's the type of shit, like, how where we going. Anyway, y'all, it's been great. It's been a great video. I've been doing this shit too long anyway. Until next time, make sure you support the Cash App. Like I said, I'm gonna put the link in here a couple more times. I'm serious. I want y'all to jump on, get on, really sign up, subscribe to this channel. And then with that being said, this is Edward signing off.